This video is being brought to you today by Raleigh Gold Coin Dealers with locations in Raleigh and Rocky Mount, North Carolina. If you're looking for competitive prices on gold, silver, and numismatics, give Lou a call or visit him online. You can find the website in the description of this video. That's my LCS and he'll treat you right. Tell him Silver and Gold Stack Attack sent you. Would you believe a gold nugget weighing less than 1/1000th of an ounce might have literally changed the course of American history? Well, that's just what happened one January morning in 1848 to California carpenter John Marshall. It also led up to one of the biggest losses of gold in U.S. history, when a ship carrying California Gold Rush gold and San Francisco minted gold coins sank to the bottom of the Atlantic. Well, we're going to talk about all that, plus why decades later the original finder of the shipwreck now finds himself in prison. Stay tuned. YouTube, what's shaking? Welcome to another episode of the Silver and Gold Stack Attack. I do want to thank you so much for stopping by today. You guys know how much it's appreciated. Got a good one for you, even though I know shipwreck videos don't typically do all that well on YouTube, but this is one I really wanted to do, so popularity be damned, right? Anyway, we're going to talk about a famous shipwreck, millions of dollars lost in gold as a result, and the treasure hunter who found the wreck and currently enjoys a mailing address in a federal detention center in Milan, Michigan. I'm not even kidding you. It's a crazy story, but it's an important one to U.S. history. So let's go ahead and roll it. This California landscape may look peaceful now, but it was once a thriving area for people seeking their fortunes, not all that long ago. In 1848, on the bank of the South Fork American River in the foothills of the Sierra Nevada in California, carpenter John Marshall was overseeing the construction of a new sawmill for Colonel John Sutter. This is an actual picture of the original mill and Marshall. Toward the end of the construction, Marshall happened to look down, and he noticed something glittering in the water. He picked it up and saw that it was a small gold nugget. He later hammered the nugget into a thin flake for easier identification. Now that tiny single flake of gold weighed in at just 0.0855 grams. And yet, it just might have changed American history forever. Now, soon after Marshall's discovery, the nugget was sent to Washington, D.C. for confirmation, and once it was, the news spread like wildfire. And amazingly enough, that very same nugget that Marshall fished out of the river can be found today in the collections of the Smithsonian, since it was turned in there in 1861. How cool is that? The nugget that started the California Gold Rush. Now, small amounts of gold had previously been found in California, but it was Marshall's discovery that garnered worldwide attention in 1848. And this picture right here is quite possibly the one that inspired Englehart's prospector rounds. See the resemblance? And as a result of the find, more than 300,000 people landed along the American River in Northern California in the 1850s when they heard about the gold. This huge economic boom had banks rushing in to invest in the area to help build it up. But all good things come to an end. Finally, in 1855, when the gold rush had died down and gold became scarce, the economy completely deteriorated. Companies and businesses started to close little by little, and insurance companies collapsed. And in a panic, a few New York banks got together and organized a large shipment of California gold from the San Francisco Mint to consolidate their reserves. The steamship Central America was chosen to make this delivery to the desperate banks of New York, since it currently ran the route from Central America to the U.S. East Coast. Without a doubt, she was definitely carrying an important cargo of gold that was meant to, well, basically help stop the insolvency of East Coast businesses. But first, the gold had to be moved from California to Panama to meet up with the ship. So on August 20th, 1857, several hundred passengers boarded the SS Sonora of the Pacific Steamship Line, along with an insanely valuable cargo that included over $8 million in gold, which would be just under $300 million today for perspective. That gold cargo included thousands of freshly minted 1857 S double eagles, some earlier $20 coins, ingots, and gold, in many other forms, and it was mostly from the California Gold Rush. Now, once it was loaded up, the Sonora left San Francisco headed south. The trip was uneventful, and she landed at Panama City where the passengers disembarked. At that point, the treasure was unloaded from the Sonora and put aboard a special baggage car on the Panama Railroad, which was a 48-mile line to the opposite coast. You have to remember that the Panama Canal wouldn't be built for another 57 years in 1914, so everything had to be manually transported to the other side and then reloaded onto the Central America. I can only imagine the tensions on that route to the ship, knowing what their cargo was. And finally, on September 3rd, 1857, the SS Central America was loaded up, and she left the port of Panama to sail to New York. She was carrying 477 passengers, 101 crew members, and one incredibly valuable gold cargo. It's believed that a total of 11.2 tons of gold was packed on board, not including the gold brought back by passengers. The ship eventually rounded the Florida Peninsula and was heading north, but unbeknownst to the crew and passengers, that was pretty much the beginning of the end. Unfortunately, a Category 2 hurricane moved in, and the Atlantic Ocean tossed the ship around like a cork as she took on thousands of gallons of water. The crew tried to keep her afloat as women and children were transferred to a nearby ship, but one last wave overtook the Central America, and she was sent 8,000 feet down to the ocean floor, about 160 miles offshore from Charleston, South Carolina. The wreck claimed more than 400 lives, and the financial implications of the loss of gold were so dire, they contributed greatly to the Panic of 1857. Now let's fast forward to 130 years later. A marine engineer named Thompson becomes obsessed with finding the treasure of the Central America, and he spent years piecing together the ship's route through calculations and studies of maritime documents. He would later convince some 160 plus private investors of the cause and raise $12.5 million to organize an expedition. He put together a team of experts and professional divers and launched the Columbus America Discovery Group in 1988. They also developed a state-of-the-art underwater robot with a giant claw. The crew did eventually locate the wreck of the Central America at a depth of 8,000 feet, 160 miles off the coast of the Carolinas on September 11, 1988. The find included gold bars and 5,200 gold coins, including those $20 double eagle gold coins produced by the San Francisco Mint. The find was estimated to be worth between $100 and $150 million, but basically beneath 8,000 feet of ocean was an unparalleled treasure trove of thousands of gold coins, along with over 500 unique assayer gold ingots. And as always, when an amazing treasure is found, the legal disputes find their way into the picture. A dispute between the state, the insurance companies, and Tommy Thompson has been raging on for years. The courts initially ruled in favor of the discoverer and his investors, but Tommy Boy got greedy. He decided to sell 532 bars and thousands of gold coins to California Gold Marketing Group for $52 million without informing his investors. Slick. Prosecuted in 2005, Thompson was later found in contempt of court because he wouldn't reveal the location of the missing gold, but he'd already hidden himself in Florida. And 7 years later, a federal warrant was issued, and he was finally arrested in 2015 at a hotel in Boca Raton. He did repay his collaborators, but he still refused to disclose where the missing gold pieces of treasure were hidden. And as a result, he was shuttled off to prison. The legal battles for the missing gold are probably going to wage on, but it's a good chance Thompson will likely pass away before he ever divulges what he did with that gold. So, is this the end of the story? Nope. In 2014, 26 years after the first expedition claimed the gold from the Central America, a company called Odyssey Marine Exploration revisited the wreck and recovered more than 16,000 items, to include 3,100 gold coins, 45 gold bars, and 36 kilos of gold dust. One of the most amazing finds was the purser's safe, which you see here. And when it was opened, it had a satchel full of pokes or bundles of gold nuggets, still wrapped the same way they'd been more than a century ago. In the end, the hurricane that claimed the SS Central America has long since abated, and when the ship dropped below the surface for the last time and the treasure hunters stopped raking over her broken hull, she was once again able to rest in silence, darkness, and peace on the ocean floor as another victim of the sea, and a permanent grave for those who went down with her. Godspeed. Alright, let's start wrapping this video up. I just wanted to show you guys a close-up of these certified shipwreck gold slabs. Now, these actually were salvaged from the Central America, and this is literally like holding California gold rush history in your hand. It's amazing. Can you imagine sifting through the sand and the water and the hot sun just to pull this stuff out? It had to be a mind-numbingly tedious process, but, you know, looking at these, it makes you wonder who did the work back in the day and, well, how excited they probably were to find it, right? But not everyone who went west struck it rich. Some just found a small amount. But you also have the added factor of knowing this stuff sat on the bottom of the ocean for 130 plus years, and that just adds to the mystique. But anyway, the gold dust in these two cases is referred to as a double pinch, which is about a gram of gold each. Now, a little history on the double pinch. It was a term used in the West by miners as a measure of payment, and it was gladly accepted at bars. So basically, a double pinch got you a double shot of liquor. And here's another slab with 1.5 grams of Shipwreck gold nuggets, but this was a limited edition run with only 1,857 slabbed, which is an homage to the year the Central America sank. And adding to the cool factor is the fact that it's certified and hand-signed by Bob Evans, who was the chief scientist on the Central America Ship of Gold project. So yeah, overall these are insanely cool collectibles and really an important part of U.S. history in your hands. Can't beat them. And there you have it, the story of the California Gold Rush, the Central America, and the treasure hunter who chose to go to prison rather than reveal the location of the gold he snuck off and sold. And that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Silver and Gold Stack Attack. And if you made it this far, well, kudos to you. I will definitely catch up with you in the next episode, but in the meantime,
what do you want to do with your life?
damn right get stacked. Stay safe and be well, everyone. I am out of here. Peace, folks.
Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes.